'Tis the season to deck the halls with
blood.
It's Christmas time, and in this video I'm ranking the scariest Santas in horror. First is A Christmas Horror Story. The Santa in this film isn't too scary until you realize he's going through a lot. A Christmas Horror Story is a fun anthology Christmas horror movie. Each story follows different groups of people and they all intertwine with this overarching Santa story. And it's really fun and unique, and then it has a really shocking ending that kind of punches you in the gut. Coming in at number 8, we have the Santa dressed killer in Silent Night. Silent Night centers on a ruthless killer dressed as Santa who's terrorizing a small town as they celebrate their Christmas festival. It has some really fun kills. It gives me a My Bloody Valentine feel, and Jamie King is the lead actress in this, and she's great. I love her. Coming in at number 7 is the Santa in Saint. Saint depicts Santa as a murderous bishop. Whenever there's a full moon, this murderous Santa slash bishop murders and kills children. So you better watch out, because Saint Nicholas is watching and he will
murder you.
Coming in at number 6 is Billy in Silent Night, Deadly Night. I feel bad for Billy because Billy has gone through a lot. So Billy, when he's younger, he witnesses his parents get brutally murdered by someone dressed in a Santa suit, and that pretty much traumatizes him for the rest of his life. He gets sent to an orphanage where a lot of messed up stuff happens to him, and he's never had treatment for what he went through, and it kind of brews within him over the years. And then one Christmas, he dons a Santa suit himself and he goes on a killing spree. This one is brutal. It has some brutal kills, and this one may have angered moms back in the day who boycotted the film because the advertisements featured a killer Santa, and you can't do that. Coming in at number 5 is Harry from Christmas Evil. Christmas Evil is such an emotional horror movie. It's very dark and bleak and also very sad. Harry is another person who was traumatized by a moment that occurred in his childhood. He witnesses Santa groping his mother by the Christmas tree, and as you can imagine, that messes a kid up, and he has a fixation on Santa for the rest of his life. Harry lives a lonely life. He works a dead-end job where nobody really appreciates what he's doing, and everything just kind of bubbles up one year and he snaps and he starts killing people while dressed as Santa. I feel very deeply sorry for Harry because he's not well, and you can see that he is a kid at heart still, and if only he got treatment, he could have been better. But honestly, this movie, it's such a well-made Christmas horror movie about mental illness and the true meaning of Christmas in a very dark way, and it analyzes families during the holidays and how toxic people can be in your life, and it's one that I highly recommend. Coming in at number 4 is The Santa in Rare Exports. Rare Exports is a Finnish horror movie about a group of archaeologists who unearth what they believe to be the frozen corpse of Santa Claus, and he did not come alone. He may have come with some naked elves that are helping him terrorize this small little village and kidnapping children. This one is so fun. I love that it explores the Santa mythology from Norway, and it's dark. A lot of the stuff that happens is very dark with the elves, but there's also at the center of it is the heart of this story, which is this little boy who discovers this, and he's trying to make things right, and he partners up with his father, who they kind of are having a struggled relationship, and they bond over this series of strange dark events happening in their town, and they band together to help save their town. I love this movie so much. It has a really cool spin on the Santa and his elves story, and it just feels epic and cold. Coming in at number 3 is the demonic Santa in Santa's Sleigh. So the Santa in this movie is played by Goldberg, who you probably recognize from the WWE. This Santa, he's a demon, and he gets to unleash evil on the world and start killing people one Christmas. And he starts killing people in this small little town. This one is really silly, over the top, and just fun. Coming in at number 2 is the Santa in Deadly Games / Game Over / Dial Code Santa Claus. There's a bunch of titles for this one, but I love this movie so much. It's basically Home Alone, before Home Alone existed. And it follows this young boy who is like Kevin McAllister. He invents all these different booby traps and all these different things that he puts around his house, and he connects with a stranger who he thinks is Santa. And he's communicating with this Santa. He's telling him about his life, where he lives, all this stuff, stranger danger. But on the other end is not Santa. It's this crazy guy who wants to kill him. So he finds out where he lives, he finds out he's gonna be home alone on Christmas Eve, and he goes there dressed as Santa to meet with the little boy. And it does not go as planned. This movie is so much fun, and it also has some really heartwarming, touching moments, some really dark, sad moments. Animal death in this one, but overall I think it's such a cool movie. It's such a fun Christmas movie, and it's horrifying to think of some stranger dressing as Santa and showing up at your house when you're a kid and wanting to kill you. I love the main character. He's this little boy. He's a genius, and he's so inventive, and just watching him kick ass, it's a blast. And I love that this movie is basically the blueprint for Home Alone. And lastly, coming in at number 1, the scariest horror Santa to me is the Santa Claus in Tales from the Crypt, All Through the House. I'm talking about the movie Tales from the Crypt from 1972, I believe, which is an anthology that tells different stories of this group of people. One of the stories in Tales from the Crypt is about this woman. One night on Christmas Eve, she decides to murder her husband in a very brutal way, might I add. So when she does this, there happens to be an escaped psych patient. He's prowling the area, and he happens to come upon her home, and he's dressed as Santa, and he's absolutely terrifying, and he begins stalking her. And she can't call the police because if she does, she'll reveal that she has murdered her husband. I love that this story focuses on how quickly karma can bite you in the ass, and it also makes you worried for this woman who's done this horrible thing, because you don't want to see her get murdered, but you kind of do. It's just absolutely horrifying, and you think that she's gonna be safe inside this house, but this Santa is relentless. I also think that the Santa version of this story that is in the Tales from the Crypt series is equally as terrifying. He's probably a little bit more over the top in what he looks like and how he behaves and acts. I just think it's the scariest Christmas story ever to me, featuring Santa. This one has always stuck with me ever since I was little. Just the thought of putting yourself into an inescapable situation and having it get worse by a killer dressed as a Santa lurking around your house. It's absolutely horrifying. And there you have it. That's my ranking of the scariest Santas in horror. Let me know how your ranking would be, or which Santas you would add to the list. Let me know what horror movies that you're watching for this holiday season. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a Merry Christmas.